This is Akashvani. In the program Insights, now we bring you a discussion on Union Cabinet decisions. The participants are Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist.
Union Cabinet announced a slew of decisions on Wednesday, which included approval of a new scheme to promote alternative fertilizers in a bid to reduce the use of chemical fertilizers and the constitution of a national organization to bolster the country's research competence. Resolutions to this effect were passed in the Union Cabinet meeting in the CCEA, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, which was chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And these announcements also include a unique package of innovative schemes for farmers with a total out of rupees 3.70 lakh crores. Now, Shekhar, these are the very important decisions of the Union Cabinet in these two areas pertaining to our agriculture, farmers, and the research body as well. How do you analyze these decisions?
Indeed, Vinayji, this is very important decisions have been taken by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs on Wednesday. And as you mentioned, there is actually a bouquet of schemes which the government has approved, which is to look at the overall well-being and economic betterment of farmers. The whole idea is to promote sustainable agriculture, an agriculture that takes care of the health of the soil, that takes care of the environment, that takes care of the requirement of the people of India in terms of food production and in terms of overall, I would say, practices that contribute to agriculture being a sustainable as well as a productive venture. So I think importantly, particularly one thing that is a good news for all farmers is the urea subsidy scheme will continue so that the urea is available constantly at the same rate. That is at the price of 242 rupees for a bag of 45 kilograms of urea. Now, and of course, neem coating will cost extra in some places. There may be taxes also. So, but what the government has done, it has approved a package, and of this package, that is 3,68,000 crore have been committed for this subsidy scheme for 3 years. That is from 2022-23 to 24-25. And this is apart from, there is a new project which is also very important, which is the nutrient-based subsidy, which is almost accounts for 38,000 crore for Kharif season alone for 23-24. So one thing is very clear, we are seeing world crude prices are fluctuating, so consequently it has a bearing on fertilizer industry also, and because these industries use natural gas and other components for production. But our farmers need not spend extra money for urea. So therefore, they can be sure of their input cost when it comes to urea. And the other thing is, this whole thing is being subsidized by the budgetary support. So this scheme will continue. And the other thing which the government is very keen is that if you just look at the magnitude of the subsidy, in the last year itself, we have seen, between, say, 2014, if you look at 2014-15 to 2022-23, the increase in fertilizer subsidies itself 1,81,000 crore. So you can imagine it's a massive boost for subsidy. At the same time, government is also concerned that we deal with the soil health. The Prime Minister has been very particular. The practice which started in Gujarat when he was Chief Minister, that is soil health cards. Now the idea is to propagate these health cards so that every farmer knows what is the condition of his soil, what is exactly required, what kind of nutrients are required for his soil. So therefore you find now these nano fertilizers. Basically nano fertilizers are, nutrients are released in a very controlled manner over a period of time. And it will not cost much to the farmers also. So it has already been seen that when you study the soil condition, apply the nutrients that are required, you can see a good yield in the crop. So that is one of the reasons. And government's hope is, on one hand, you ensure the subsidy continues, and also in production of urea, we become Atmanirbhar, we become self-sufficient. That is why the process of setting up new units is underway.
And Shekhar, also Cabinet approved sulfur-coated urea gold, and under this PM Pranam, Pradhan Mantri Program for Restoration, Awareness, Generation, Nourishment and Amelioration of Mother Earth. And yesterday, Union Minister Mansukh Mandaviya, while he was briefing reporters about cabinet decisions, he said that the sulfur-coated urea gold will be the premier category urea, and its efficacy would be better than the conventional urea, which is commonly used to increase the productivity of agricultural crops. So this premier quality of urea gold will be available in granular form, and it will be used in lesser quantities than the conventional neem coated urea. The quality of bagging for urea gold as well as price of a bag has not yet been decided, but this will also improve the sulfur contents in the soils. This is also a very important decision as far as farming goes.
Definitely, because it has been found that in number of places, the soil is actually deficient of sulfur. And our agricultural extension officers and scientists have found that if you can deal with this problem, instead of using the usual urea to look at all problems, it doesn't help. So the two aspects, one is you use urea generally wherever you want to use, then you look at the concept of nano urea, which is a nutrient-based approach. Then apart from that, you are also going for this particular sulfur-based. So where there is a soil condition shows deficiency of sulfur, so that you can introduce it so that will also increase production. And per hectare or per acre productivity also will show a marked increase. Because the whole idea is agriculture has become very, very scientific oriented, Vinayji. As you will appreciate, just as when it comes to your own human health, you will have to, give supplements to your body where there is shortage or there is a problem. The soil has to be handled similarly in a sensitive way. And government has been particular that our farmers are made aware of this. Because it cannot be one rule for all types of soil. Every soil is different. In different parts of the country, the soil condition is different. And the government wants that farmers are sufficiently educated, are told about how to deal with their soil. Because for a good production, for a good crop yield, you'll have to look at 3-4 conditions. One is you have to look at the soil condition, you have to look at the quality of seeds, then the quality of nutrients you are giving, and of course, what kind of irrigation facilities are available. Because these are the 4 things that on which our agriculture is dependent and our agriculture can be boosted. So the decision yesterday is overall is to see that everything is done. And also in this scheme, which you call PM Pranam, they want to encourage natural farming also, wherever it is possible. You will recall in the last budget, the finance minister specifically said that government is setting apart sufficient funds for this natural farming. And in fact, some areas will be taken up on a pilot basis, particularly along the Ganga in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar and some other states wherever the Ganga is flowing. So that to see whether we can also grow crops, vegetable, fruits by natural way. Because natural thing is also catching up. Because sometimes what happens, a heavy use of chemical fertilizer sometimes leaves the soil without any nutrients. Whereas Mother Earth has her own way of nourishing herself. There is not going to be cut-in use of urea, but there is going to be more judicious use. So this natural farming is a concept which the government wants to promote in a big way. And for this purpose, they have announced this PM Pranam, which will actually incentivize state governments and others to promote alternate fertilizers.
Central will also give 50% to the states.
Yes. And in fact, they have kept 1,451 crore for what is called market development assistance for promoting these organic, and they are going to even market them in what is called to be FOM, that is fermented organic manures. Then they are going to have phosphate-rich organic manures. And these are going to be byproducts from these biogas plants. They don't have to invest on a separate new factory. Actually, this will all come under the overall Govardhan initiative. So the organic fertilizers will be sold in the brand name of Bharat brand. So I think this will facilitate, addressing also the problem of crop residue, Pariali or problem in the winter, particularly in the northern states. Crop residue is burnt and the air is completely polluted. So I think this is a new thing where farmers can use this Pariali or the crop residue in their own way. And at the same time, they can also buy organic fertilizers off the shelves in market.
And Shekhar, on the other decision, Cabinet also has increased the fair remunerative price, by the way, FRP. For the sugarcane farmers, the increase is by rupees 10 per quintal. It will be now 315 rupees per quintal for 2023 to 2024 season, which starts in October. But another important decision of Cabinet was approval to the proposal for Apex body on scientific research, which will be called National Research Foundation. It has got Union Cabinet's nod, and rupees 50,000 crore over 5 years on research and development will be spent on it, and focus will be on funding of projects in peripheral, rural and semi-urban areas. At the briefing, Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur gave the details. And it was also a promise made 4 years ago by the government that we will have a National Research Foundation as an apex body to promote and fund mentor scientific research in higher education institutions across the country, with the focus on cultivating the culture of research in universities and colleges. So this is also it will have far-reaching ramifications in our scientific research institutions.
Definitely, Vinayji, we have always been lamenting the fact that India has a huge pool of scientists, huge pool of research talents. But in terms of our research output, why are we not world class? This question has often been asked at several fora, and the Prime Minister has been emphasizing that, look, we have to be world class, we have to do a lot of research so that our research is not simply in the labs. From the labs, we have to go to the field, to the industry. That is why the idea is now to have a National Research Foundation by an Act of Parliament. And this will promote, as you mentioned, a culture of research, and in which universities, colleges, research institutions, R&D laboratories of the corporate sector and the industry, all of them are going to be involved in a big way. Because, as you mentioned, an apex body will be created and it will look at what is the direction our research should take, what are the strategic areas we should move. Yes, of course, we already have a CSIR, Council for Science and Industrial Research. But the idea is apex body, which will have a complete holistic view of what research is happening where the funds are needed, how much should be spent, so that those who are involved in research will also know that when they are funded, when their research is audited, and whatever findings come, those will be used by the industry, by the farmers, by whoever it is meant. And the whole idea, I think, actually stems from the emphasis given in the new education policy for research. And the whole idea is that we should spend at least 50,000 crores on research. Whatever is necessary for research in different selected areas between 2023 and 2028.
And also, Shekhar, it's important to note that NRF will be modeled on the lines of the hugely successful National Science Foundation of the United States. And Cabinet also took note of the fact that India is spending only 0.7% of its GDP on research and development, which is extremely low if we compare it to many other countries like Israel, which spends nearly 4.8% of its GDP. And even, Brazil, Malaysia and Egypt, they also spend considerable percentage of their GDP on research. China spent 2.14% and the US figure is 2.83%. And as I said, Israel is around 4.8 to 4.9%, such a small country, but their emphasis on research and development is very huge. So this was an area which was far neglected and never received any funding for science projects. So I think this is also a democratization of funding of science and research, which is so crucial for our countries, so that we are not hugely dependent upon newer technologies on the developed nations.
Definitely. You will recall, Vinayji, during the Prime Minister's visit to the United States, between agreements have been signed for US National Science Foundation and the Indian counterpart. The whole idea is there has been a general refrain that our research bodies are operating in silos. One lab doesn't know what the other lab is doing. And at the same time, you mentioned about countries like China, Israel, South Africa, or even the United States. So the whole idea behind a research foundation is to see that our industries, our laboratories, our research community, they work in tandem. And also the industry feels as much committed to promoting research by our research bodies, so that whatever work that goes on in the labs is intended for use by the industry, by the concerned groups, whether it is farmers in the field or whether it is by the industry, engineers in the industry. So I think this is a very important decision. The whole idea is that with a vast pool of scientists and people with scientific base, scientific knowledge, so we need to do more to promote research, and that is the significance of the cabinet decision in this regard.
And this decision will go a long way in promoting research, bringing internationally competitive research to the table and benefit India in so many areas. Thank you, Shekhar, for the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Union Cabinet decisions. The participants were Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928-909-4044.